Good morning, St. Gregory's. Thank you, Father Andrew, and thanks for all you do for our church, all of you at the support that you give to this wonderful place we call St. Gregory's. I wouldn't be standing here this morning if it wasn't for my physical terrorist, Avi. I affectionately call him Avi the agitator, but he's got me up and running. I know what you know what it's like, right? I know a lot of you do. You know, it's pretty amazing today. You can get new lenses for your eyes, new hips, new shoulders, new knees, all done as an outpatient. I've done almost all of them. In at 7, out at noon. Here I am, you know. I was thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could do that with people's hearts? You know, you take out the old and you put in the new. You know, it wasn't that long ago, I would come to the 8 o'clock alone. I'd sit in the back pew. I'd put $5 or $10 in the plate, fist pump the priest on the way out, and say, "Good job, good sermon." And then I'd hit the road. I never got involved in church activities. It's one of my life's biggest regrets. My first boss at IBM always said, "Bill, you need to stay focused on the brass ring." An old saying back then, but I kind of knew what he meant. You see, it was too much trouble for me to get my kids dressed, come to church with my wife, Mary. I had other priorities. I thought I was a big shot. I was not. I asked for forgiveness almost every day, but I kept looking for the ring. After 2 successful startups, one listed on the NASDAQ, the other on the London Exchange, I thought I had found it as an officer of 100 fastest growing companies until one afternoon I was sitting at my son's high school graduation and it hit me. What have I really done? Where had all the time gone? Traveling weeks on end to Europe, Asia, South America, too many cities and places to name. I missed so much. Was it really worth it? I still kept looking for the brass ring. One Sunday morning, the late, great, unassuming Jeff Eastburn, who left a 7-figure legacy to Family Promise and the South Florida Haiti Project, asked me if I would help ushering and greeting people. This is when I met Connie Jones. I watched how Connie interacted with people. It didn't matter if you drove up in a red Ferrari or a public shopping cart. She greeted you with kindness, compassion, and love. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving one another just as God also forgave you in Christ. Ephesians 4:32. Hope grows here is our theme for our stewardship this year. You will all be getting this brochure. It's a wonderful brochure. I think it's the best we've ever done. I would appreciate it if you would share it with a friend or a neighbor. It tells the story about our church. If you read it and you're through with it and you don't want to keep it, bring it back to the church because we give them to newcomers and people visiting St. Gregory's for the first time. And if you're online and you don't receive one, just call our church office and I'll make sure that you do get one. It wasn't that long ago that our parking lot was gravel. You needed waiters if it rained. Back then, the parking lot brought in about $30,000 annually to our church. Today, thanks to Kristen Cheney, our parking lot brings in over $150,000. Kristen is now focused on increasing our revenue for our new facilities. We have several organizations that are now looking at our space, including Seraphic Fire, Boca Raton Symphonia, thank you, Carol, South Florida Choral Group, and one large one they don't want me to talk about. but we're close to signing. They hold two concerts each Saturday, usually at 4 and 7, and they usually get about 400 people at each one, so they really pack them in. And then we'll have an announcement soon that we're doing something different at the end of the year for a concert we're going to be having here. We're also blessed with a junior warden that can take nickels and make them spark. And he questions every dollar that we get. And that's Wazim Reed, Zim, as he's known. I don't see him here today. Zim and Kristen have made a number of changes in suppliers and contractors. We also are beyond fortunate to have Gary Paris as our treasurer. Gary was CFO of a Fortune 500 company. Under Gary's leadership, our solar project is almost complete. And before the end of this month, perhaps, certainly before the end of November, our campus will be 95% powered by solar. That's significant. At significant long-term savings for this church. The other thing I'll mention, I know Gary doesn't want me to talk about it, but I am, that our long-term debt, which has plagued this church for years, at a total of $500,000, will be close to zero if things go right by the end of the year. Blessing and prayers to Gary and also Christopher Leonard for their continued work in this area. All of you keep planting seeds of kindness, seeds of justice, seeds of welcome. When our son graduated from Notre Dame, he moved to San Francisco. Mary and I would always frequently visit him and attend Grace Cathedral. I noticed they had a dedicated priest for social justice and were disciples of Bishop Michael Curry and advocates for sacred ground. I told Father Andrew about it when we got back. We formed a pilot group. But this was a ministry that was picked up and led by our own people, Cheryl, Richard, Cindy, Reverend Michael, Beatrice, Dietrich. God bless you all. If you haven't checked out a beloved community, you need to do it. It's a transformative experience that I've never witnessed myself. Hope doesn't just happen. Hope needs care. Hope needs community, and hope needs all of us. Every gift you give is a seed. Stewardship is about planting those seeds with trust that God will make them flourish. You know, our budget is approaching $2 million. We are no longer a small suburban church. There are things that we should be doing. One is hiring a full-time children and youth director. Anita Sherman and Reverend Robin and our Sunday school people do incredible work. But it's time that we put more effort and support in this area. And I encourage you all to get to know Reverend Robin. People would always ask me, Bill, where did you go to college? And I would say the Harvard of the Midwest. And they'd go, really? And I'd say, yeah, Western Michigan. But Reverend Robin actually did go to Harvard. And she teaches the course on Tuesday nights via Zoom on contemplative reading. And she leads 33 minutes on empathy, don't sing songs to a heavy heart. And she leads Rise and Shine. Even if you don't have kids, I highly recommend you go watch one of her sessions with the children at Rise and Shine. She and Damien are unbelievable resources for this church. You know, for the past 5 years, I have led our efforts on stewardships, and I've tried to make a number of changes in how we go about it. But we're now at a point where we need a full-time fund development director. I could spend another 30 minutes talking about how we can bring more revenue into this church. Kristen Cheney will tell you that we need an additional sexton. Tim will tell you that we need a children's music and assistant music director. And I will tell you that we need a new our columbariums redone. And kudos to Catherine Wallace, who has taken it upon herself to clean our marble benches. Plant new flowers, update the landscaping in our columbariums. God bless you, Karen. Mary and I are both owned homes in Grand Blanc, Michigan before moving to Boca. The recent Mormon church attack was the 341st mass shooting in the United States this year. As a result, we have added more security to all services and events starting last week. You'll be visible, some won't be so visible. We are working closely with Boca PD, the Interfaith Council, and the Anti-Defamation League in Boca. As a church, we have to realize that there are people that don't believe what we believe, and they don't want us to have what we cherish. Each of the testimonials you'll hear over the next 4 Sundays will be followed by a free enhanced breakfast and a ministry fair showcasing several of our ministries. I want to thank in advance Brian Willett, Roberta Kelgard, Genevieve Brown-Metzger, and Ed Bell for their willingness to do testimonials, and Kristen Cheney for her wonderful organizational skills. I encourage everyone to attend, and I especially encourage everyone to view the ministries before and after sitting down to eat. We are so blessed with the incredible clergy, music, and staff that we have. This is our moment to lean in and tend the garden. Imagine what the next year could bring if each of us commits to watering our ministries generously. Imagine the new ministries we could plant, the lives we could impact, and the hope we could foster. I'm inviting all of you to prayerfully consider how you invest in the garden of hope. If you are new to St. Gregory's, I hope you can find it in your heart to participate and get involved. God's garden is full of endless opportunities. 2 years ago, I was meeting with Father Andrew, and he asked me if I would give one of the Good Friday meditations and reflections. I said, sure. He said, I want you to meditate on Luke 23:24. I said, no problem. And later I was out in my car and I was Googling. I said, Good Friday meditations, Luke 23:24. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. The next week, I asked Father Andrew for help me with my meditation and writing. He says, Bill, let your heart and the Lord speak to you. Listen, it will come to you. And as with most speeches, I take a yellow pad, my dog Clyde, and a little libation, sit by my pool and reflect. I gave a speech on Good Friday, how forgiveness impacted my life in so many ways. It was definitely from my heart. Jesus said, do not judge others, you will not be judged. Do not condemn others, or it will come back against you. Forgive others, and you will be forgiven. Luke 6:37. I was sitting in the back pew on Sunday, and a person with a backpack came in and sat beside me. The collection plate came, and he reached in his pocket. He put in 57 cents. I said, you don't have to do that. He said, oh, yes, I do. Is that all the money you have? I asked. He said, yes. I said, well, why do you do it? He said, I could not survive without this place. A person on the short end of society showing kindness, love, and especially gratitude. A generous person will prosper, and whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. One day I walked into the administration office, and there were all these trash bags on the floor. Deacon Anita Thorstead was standing there. I said, hey, Anita, what's going on? She said, well, we're getting ready to catch a plane to Haiti. Oh, what's in the bags? She said they contained 300 pairs of new tennis shoes that David Gurry bought for our children. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Matthew 5:7. Rest in peace, O great servant David. When I do a meditation now, I see Stephen Ministry, Rise and Shine, Gentle Giant, ECW, The Brothers, Meals with Meaning, Alder Guild, Christian Education, Music Excellence, Toliaras, South Florida Haiti Project, Office Angels, and on and on and on. You know, I flew over 2 million actual miles on Delta looking for that brass ring. And you know what? I actually found it. It was right here. It was always right here. I just never saw it. Hope grows where God's people show up, give generously, and love without fear. St. Gregory's is known as a place where hope grows wild, where God's love takes root, and where every person who walks through our doors can feel the love. Hope grows here, and with your help, it will continue to grow, taller, deeper, stronger, for many years to come. Thank you, and God bless you all.